Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, we are so incredibly thrilled to have you, the listener, tuning in today. Our mission with this deep dive is to really unpack this massive, just incredibly ambitious evolution in global rugby.
Right, an evolution that is currently colliding head-on with some very intense real-world geopolitics.
Exactly. And we're going to get straight to the facts today. It's a thrilling, really positive new tournament format, but there is a lot to cover.
There really is.
But before we jump into the breakdown, I want to quickly encourage you to hit that subscribe button to Rugby Obsession. It is, hands down, the best way to make sure you never miss out when we explore the sport's biggest stories.
Definitely, you don't want to miss these.
So here's the overview. We are looking at the brand new Nations Championship, which is set to kick off in just under 4 months.
Which is coming up so fast.
It is. But there's a huge roadblock. Their £80 million title sponsorship deal with Qatar Airways is severely threatened right now.
Yeah.
And it's all because of the uncertainty around the U.S.-Israel war with Iran.
What's fascinating here is that this isn't just about, slapping a corporate logo on a jersey or a stadium banner.
Right.
We are talking about the fundamental financial viability of a historic new rugby competition. It's really about global expansion and getting the cash needed to make that happen.
Yeah. But before we talk about the financial threat, we really need to establish what exactly is being funded here. Like, what is the actual blueprint of the Nations Championship?
Oh, the on-pitch stuff is incredible.
It really is.
Yeah.
Mechanically, it's a biennial tournament, so it happens every 2 years, utilizing the existing July and November test window.
Right, the summer and autumn blocks.
Exactly. And it pits the North, so the Six Nations teams, against the South, which is the Rugby Championship. Plus, and this is huge, the addition of Japan and Fiji.
Yeah, adding Japan and Fiji is a total game changer for the sports ecosystem.
I like to think of it as a grand structured collision course.
I like that.
Yeah, it takes these traditional, sometimes totally disconnected summer and autumn tests, and it turns them into a high-stakes league. There is a massive payoff at the end now.
And that payoff is the climactic final series at the end of November.
Right.
Where all 12 sides face off based strictly on their league rankings. It answers that massive fan desire for, truly meaningful competitive tests. Every single game suddenly matters.
And the showpiece event for that is set for November 29th, 2026.
Yes.
At Aline Stadium, Twickenham, in London. They are going to host all 6 matches that weekend.
Which is logistically insane. I mean, to synthesize something that grand requires monumental financial backing.
Yeah, which brings us to the £80 million question. Hosting 12 international squads in London is not cheap.
Not at all.
And that leads us to the stalled £80 million contract with Qatar Airways. They've been in talks for over a year, and this money is meant to cover 4 tournaments.
It's a staggering amount of cash.
It really is. Now, before we unpack the Qatar deal, I want to take a quick pause and ask you, the listener, to jump into the comments. We want to know your thoughts and opinions on corporate sponsorships in global sports.
Yeah, does seeing a massive airline logo change how you view the game? Let us know.
Exactly. And while you're down there leaving a comment, please hit subscribe to Rugby Obsession. Okay, let's unpack this Qatar situation, because I have a question here.
Sure.
The organizers say they are actually quite happy with the revenue from TV rights, right? The broadcast deals are solid.
Right, they are.
So why is this specific title sponsorship seen as the absolute key to the competition's success? Is it just about the cash? Or is it about global prestige?
That's the perfect question to ask, and it really is about the global strategy. You have to look at the specific details for the 2028 tournament to understand it.
The second edition.
Exactly. The 2028 finals are currently penciled in for Doha, Qatar. Yeah, so it's a strategic move. They want to expand the global reach of the competition, move it out of the traditional strongholds, and bring in crucial financial benefits to the unions by opening up new markets.
So London in 2026 is sort of the proof of concept, and Doha in 2028 is the actual frontier.
You nailed it.
But that brings us to the harsh reality of the present, right?
Yeah.
We have to look at how real-world conflicts are actively threatening these massive sports expansions.
It's unavoidable right now.
We are just looking at the facts impartially here. The threat is that the uncertainty created by the U.S.-Israel war with Iran is causing very real fears among leading rugby unions.
Yeah, they are terrified the deal will completely collapse.
Exactly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it just perfectly illustrates how global sports are intrinsically vulnerable to global stability. The organizers have actually been asking urgent questions regarding the delay.
And they're just getting silence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to read a direct quote from the Times to ground this because it's pretty stark. Quote, questions are being asked of Qatar Airways about the situation, but there's been no word back to say what it's happening. Clearly, this is a time of uncertainty in that part of the world. There have been lots of positive conversations in recent months, but nothing has been signed, end quote.
Nothing has been signed. 4 months out. Think about that for a second. For you, the listener, it's wild to consider how a geopolitical event thousands of miles away, a conflict involving nations that don't even play in the nation's championship, can directly alter the trajectory of the sport you love watching on a Saturday afternoon.
It really is jarring. The unions desperately need this funding for their grassroots programs, and it's all just hanging in the balance.
Hanging by a thread.
So, bringing this full circle, we're basically watching a massive clash between this incredibly ambitious new era for global rugby and the totally unpredictable nature of global politics.
That's the reality of modern sports business.
Just to summarize where we stand, we are less than 4 months away from an incredible new chapter in global rugby with the nation's championship.
It's going to be amazing if they pull it off.
Completely.
Uh.
But there is an 80 million pound void that remains to be filled if the Middle East tensions prevent this Qatar Airways deal from crossing the try line.
And this raises an important question, something for everyone to really chew on. If this massive Middle East funding falls through at the final hour, where will global rugby unions turn next to fund their ambitions?
That's the scary part.
Will they be forced to look at private equity? And if they do, how might that fundamentally change who actually owns the sport?
Wow. Yeah, if private equity firms step in, that changes the DNA of the game entirely.
Absolutely.
Well, we really want to know what you think about all of this. Please jump into the comments and share your opinions on this geopolitical sports standoff.
We read all of them.
We do. And one last reminder, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Rugby Obsession. It really helps us continue doing these deep dives.
Yes, please do.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.